Nail by Ian Jones and Andy Edwards. Episode 1. Trotter for Tea. It's Tuesday, September the 22nd, 1936. Hobart Ackerman, a 37-year-old Great War veteran, still suffers from shell shock, although he doesn't use that exact term to describe his headaches, sleepless nights and occasional violent outbursts. Hobart is known to all in the village as Nail. He sits at the kitchen table in his small cottage situated above the remote Welsh village of Pontderw. He lives alone, but as the village gravedigger, he is very much part of the day-to-day life of the village. I've woken up with one of my headaches. Been with me all morning. Oh, I gently rub my temples. Oh, that's nice. Takes all the stress away. It's 10 o'clock. I better get going. Raining again. Shouldn't be surprised, really. Never stops around here. Oh. I pull the collar of my coat around my face and step out into the drizzle. Cottage door clicks and the latch behind me. Off to the butcher's. Fancy a pig's trotter for my tea. And to be honest, it's pretty much all I can afford. Few spuds, mind, from the garden. It'll be lovely. Now, Di and Philly James took over the butcher's when Gwyn Chops died. Di had been a butcher in a catering corps in the war. You wouldn't think it would be an issue, would you? To walk 50 yards to the butcher's, but I'm feeling really uneasy. Di, the butcher, good as gold most of the time, but that wife of his, she's a devil. All bosoms and innuendos. Oh, fancy a bit of leg, Mr. Ackerman. Lovely chicken, Mr. Ackerman. Tender thighs, plump breasts. Got a lovely bit of rump if you fancy a treat, she says. I don't know where to look half the time. Doesn't help, mind. She's a damn good-looking woman. Dark skin, black hair, soft brown eyes. I'm not saying I fancy her, no. But you can't help notice. I walk through the alley between the post office and the police station towards the square. An old mongrel cocks his leg up on the wall, stares at me, and then he walks on. And as I walk across the cobbled road, I see Merv, the old sea dog, sitting in a bus shelter. He's just finished his shift in the bakery. Bus is gone, Merv. I know, he replies without raising his head. I'll see you now in a bit, I say. He doesn't answer. I peep in through the window of the butcher's before I go in. She's not there. Thank the Lord on high, I say to myself. Her husband Di is behind the counter, but she's not there. Di English, we call him. It's not his name, mind. It's just his English. That's the way it is around here. A word deaf, kipper, Ernie buses, I rig book and pencil. Everyone's got a nickname. I push the door, walk in. What can I do you for, says Di. Oh, just a trotter, please, Di, I reply politely. She'll be out now, Nail, he says, without looking up from the chicken that he's prepping. The skin of the bird peeks as he plucks the feathers out with his stumpy little fingers. She's out back, he says, pulling the sausages. Smiles to himself. He lays the boiled chicken down, picks up his cleaver with his left hand, and chops down violently with a sharp thud onto the butcher's block, dismembering the bird of both its legs in one fell blow. I only want a trotter die, I say. He's not interested. He picks up another bird from the chicken bucket. Philomena! Philly, darling! Nail's here to see you. Oh, I'll be out now in a minute, she says. I'm just putting my face on. Well, this is ridiculous, isn't it? I don't know if I'm misreading it, but I got a feeling that Mr. and Mrs. James are playing a bit of a game with me. 2 minutes later, she appears, made up like a chorus girl, chest puffed up like an old jackdaw. I look at Di. He winks at me. Definitely something going on here, and I am definitely not interested. I just want a trotter for my tea. Now then, she says, in a husky, cigarette-damaged but extremely sexy Dublin accent, I'm all yours. I think I blush, but keep staring at the counter. Trotter, please, that's all, Mrs. James, I say. If this goes on much longer, I'll be having spuds without a trotter for my tea. Oh, you're so formal, Neil, she says. Call me Philly. Feels more friendly. Now surely there's something else I can do for you. Just a trotter, please, Mrs. James, I say. I got Merv waiting on me. How about a couple of faggots, she says. Made them myself this morning with my own hands. Very good for the skin, they say. She thrusts her hands towards me over the counter. Feel, she says, as soft as a baby's bottom, she says. I stare at her hands. Easy now, Neil, says Di. Don't you be holding hands with my wife while I'm standing here. Wait till I'm out the back at least. They both laughed. She puts the faggots into a brown paper bag and puts them on the counter. Take them, she says. They're free to you today. I know you'll be back for more once you've had a taste. She smiles and laughs again. I look at Di, grinning away to himself. I pick up the bag and make a hasty exit. So long, my brave soldier, she says. See you soon. I'm sure I can hear them laughing as I cross the square to the bus shelter. Merv is still sitting there, head down, deep in thought. I sit down next to him. Spends a lot of time looking back, does Merv. Doesn't seem to have much time for the present, let alone the future. He's a good friend, mind. Oh, but he can be hard work. Faggot, I say, pushing the open bag towards him. The smell of the warm faggot is hard to resist, even for a man living in the past. He takes one. Thanks, Neil, he says. We eat our faggots and he sits up straight. Across the square I can see Mr. and Mrs. James looking at us through the window of the shop. She waves. I ignore her. Merv wipes his hands on his coat, then in his hair. Goes into his pocket for a hanky, I think. But pulls out an old hat ribbon. Embroidered into the ribbon are the words HMS Abu Kir. He runs it through his fingers, then puts it in the tin and replaces the lid. I was determined, he says, not to go underground, senile. Killed my father. To be honest, it killed him for about 15 years before he died. Bloody dust, he says. 1906 when I joined up. Got the train to Plymouth from Cardiff. Small bag on my shoulder, that was it. Didn't have anything to take with me anyway. My mother put a cooked ham in there for me. Where she got the money for that, I don't know. My father would have gone off his rocker if he knew. Joined up to get away from the pit, to be honest. Travel the world. Ended up on the coal anyway. After basic, I trained as an engineer. Travelled the world all right. In a bloody engine room, stoking coal. Not what I had planned. My father, say, wasn't happy when I signed up. Down the pit you should be going, boy, not off to sea like some floating Dick Whittington. Ooh, he loved a pantomime, he did. Went to the Grand with his father when he was 14. Full of quotes he was, aye, and full of dust. Huh. And there's me thinking he were an admiral, I say to Merv. I'm trying to lift his spirits, but it's to no avail. He looks down at the tin for a few seconds, then puts it into the pocket of his black donkey jacket. Mind you, Neil, he says, I did see some wonderful places. Hong Kong, Singapore, Australia. I made good friends, Merv, I say. 8 years, he says, full of the best shipmates a man could get. He looks down at the floor. 22nd of September 1914. She went down, Neil. 22 years ago today. He breathes deeply and sighs. Oh. We lost 3 ships that morning, he says. U-boat got us all. The Cressy and the Hogue went down too. 1,500 men dead. 600 of them on the Abu Kir. All my friends, Neil. Every one of them dead. Got hit on the starboard. Engine room flooded, see? Over she went. You were lucky, Merv, I say. No, Neil. I should be dead, he says. I should have been with them. He stops talking, clenches his fists. McGinty, Mickey McGinty, drunk Irish galley domestic. Saved my life, killed my soul. What? Did he get you ashore, Merv, I say? Aye. Well, 2 days earlier, punched me so hard, lost 2 teeth, smacked my head on the deck, opened me up like a tin of sardines. Only asked him what was for duff. Didn't like it, did he? Thought he was a chef, see? 1,500 men in the seabed and me in bed and breakfast in Ramsgate. I should be dead, Neil. I should be dead. The rain stops and we sit in silence. I nudge him with my elbow. Tot, Merv? Aye. I take a hip flask from my trench coat. We both take a slug. Nelson's blood, says Merv. I smile. You're a good shipmate, Neil. Cooey! Cooey! We look up. Philomena James is strutting across the square towards us with a white paper parcel in her left hand. Heels clicking on the cobbles. Oh, what do you like, Neil? Forgot your trotter? She hands me the parcel and I put the entire contents of my pocket into her open hand. Is that enough? I ask. She takes my hand and puts the coppers back. Have a couple of pints on me, boy, she whispers, and holds my hand. It's only an old trotter. I look at the shop where Di is standing in the doorway smiling, taking a drag from a cigarette. He winks at me and I nod. So thank you, Philomena, I say. Will I see you tomorrow? She asks. Not if I see you first, I reply. Oh, what the hell did I say that for? Well, she giggles, walks back to the beaming Mr. James. Oh, come on, Merv, let's get out of here. I'll put this trotter on to simmer and we'll have a pint. Aye, he says, as we walk through the alley into the horse field. Neil. Thanks, mate, says Merv. You're welcome, shipmate, I say.